When a vision comes from the thunder, begins of the west, it comes with terror, like a thunderstorm. But when the storm of vision has passed, the world is greener, happier. For whatever the truth of the vision comes upon the world, it's like a rain. The world you see is happier after the terror of a storm. Black Elk.
Sometimes life can feel pretty disorienting, as if we find ourselves turned around in the woods. But never fear, because we are never truly lost. And with the help of the wilderness, along with footsteps from the past and the present, we will unlock the tools that will help us to rewrite our journey here on the Project Mindfully Outdoors podcast.
Imagine standing on the rolling hills of the northern Great Plains, where the wind carries the whisper of ancestors and the horizon stretches endlessly in every direction. The sun is dipping low, painting the sky a fiery shade of orange and red. You hear the faint thunder of hoofs in the distance, the wild, untamed echoing the heartbeat of the land itself. This is a place where courage is mustered, not by word, but by action, where every single choice can shape the destiny of an entire people. And in the vast, untamed land, this is where legends were born. Welcome in to the Project Mindfully Outdoors podcast as we continue our journey into the lives of the men and women who walked these very lands with vision, courage, and mindfulness. Through their story, we're not just exploring history, but we're diving deep into the lessons that can teach us today how to motivate ourselves to move with purpose, how to listen deeply, and how to connect with the world that lives around us. Last week, we wrapped up our series about Daniel Boone, and this week, we begin a brand new journey into the Great Plains, where we'll meet up with a young man who would go on to become known by the name His Horse is Crazy, or his history refers to him simply as CrazyHorse. The fearless, tough, and untamed spirit that was also kind, gentle, and caring. He led his people through some of the most difficult times, and his name is one that echoes not only throughout the plains, but also throughout history. His crazy horse, or crazy horse, simply as history has come to remember him, was born around the year 1840 near the Rapid Creek, deep within the Black Hills of present-day South Dakota, a place where the grass swayed like waves and the sky felt so close that you could reach out and simply touch it. His father, Crazy Horse the Elder, was a Lakota medicine man, and his mother, Rattling Blanket Woman, she was known among the people for her compassion, for her strength, and her spiritual clarity. And this is where a lot of our story begins. Because from the very first moments of his life, they say that her son appeared differently. He was born with light, almost sandy colored hair, which was unusual among the Lakota. So therefore, she gave him the name of Light Hair, not as a judgment, not even as a curiosity, but as recognition of all the difficult times that he would face, because he stood out and he looked differently. This, my friends, is truly the story of a child who was generally different within his appearance, and it mirrored the quietness and the reflective nature that would come to truly articulate the man, the myth, the legend, and the hero that we all know and remember today. If you really want to understand the roots of Crazy Horse, then you have to look at the woman who shaped his earliest world. Because Rattling Blanket Woman was known for her kindness, as much as her fierce devotion to doing that which was right. She carried such a deep sense of empathy within her heart that one time it caused her to give up her blanket to a shivering young orphan, earning her the name of Rattling Blanket Woman, because the beads on the blanket chimed as she moved. She raised a young Light Hair in an atmosphere of gentleness that was filled with spiritual awareness. Unlike many of the children who grew up chasing the noise and the energy of the world around him, Light Hair was drawn to the simpleness of stillness. He found joy within watching the wind. He listened more than he spoke. He studied the shape of the horizon in the way that made the elders stop and pause. His mother noticed this very quickly, and instead of trying to mold him in to one of those loud and bold archetype young warriors, she nurtured his quietness. She taught him that
strength is something that can be soft, that purpose can be patient, that a warrior's heart is not only shaped by the bravery of battle, but it also must be combined with compassion, humility, and a clear sense of spirit. And throughout those early years, Lighthair followed her just like a shadow. He absorbed the world through her instruction, learning what it meant to live with honor and to celebrate the land and self. This connection was deep, it was profound, and unfortunately, heartbreakingly short-lived.
Before we continue, I want to take a moment to thank our friends at Blackbeard Firestarter for helping us out and supporting this podcast. When you're out on the trail, taking the time to slow down and reconnect with your surroundings requires often having a reliable fire starter. It can make all the difference. Their weatherproof, dependable gear gives you the confidence in any environment. Use promo code Mindfully Outdoors to save on your next order. All right, back to the story.
It was at the age of 10 that a young Lighthair, who would go on to become known as CrazyHorse, faced his first bout with grief on the day that his mother passed away, because her death struck him deeply. Even though Lakota boys often did not cry openly, there's accounts that said Lighthair withdrew deeper within to himself. He carried grief not as a weight. Instead, he looked up to grief with the aberration of being a teacher. His father, CrazyHorse, tried to fill that space which she left behind. But as anyone can attest, a mother's presence, the way that she grounds with her energy, cannot be perfectly ever replaced. This early loss shaped the young man in a very powerful way. In the face of grief, it taught him to become even more quiet. He learned to become more introspective. It made him seek meaning, not in words, but instead within dreams and visions. In many ways, grief became the doorway through which a young Lighthair would step into his future. And from this wound, purpose began to grow. Even though this one singular event became a cornerstone of an example of how we can look back and see how the early years shaped the man that would go on to lead his people, it's very clear that it's just another articulation of how different his life was in those years. Because where most Lakota boys chased after the opportunity to boast, CrazyHorse allowed himself the freedom to be led by the currents that guide every aspect of life. The intuition, the dreams, the quiet wisdom of the land. Each of those components that we're unable to see with our eyes. We just have to trust and allow ourselves to feel that those things are there. And as he did that very thing, as he practiced mindfulness before mindfulness was a word, he watched the animals move. He learned to read the behavior of the buffalo and understand the mood of the horses. He spent many hours walking alone, simply observing the world as though it was speaking directly to him. And it was. For the people could see not only his sense of humility, but that feeling of calmness and presence in the face of uncertainty, which was accented by a sense of kindness and respect. These traits, the quiet humility, the unshakable calm, a deep sense of empathy, a connection to dreams and vision, would go on to become the foundation, the very backbone of who CrazyHorse would become, and just the philosophy that would allow him to lead his people. Not the loud warrior, not the glory seeker, but the one who carried responsibility like it was a sacred object. The one who one day would lead, not because he wanted to, but because the people trusted him and asked him to.
This episode is brought to you by Farm to Feet. You know, my to-do list often involves spending a lot of time out on the trails, and I put in a lot of hours on my feet, cold mornings, and they're American-made Merrell socks. They bring comfort, durability, and warmth to every outdoor adventure. It's one less thing that I have to worry about. So if you want your next trek to feel a bit more grounded and worry-free, not to mention experience a little less foot pain along the way, check out farmtofeet.com by clicking that link in the show notes. Now let's get back to our adventure.
So as we leave the boy called Lighthair, standing on the edge of his own becoming, a child that was shaped by tenderness while being guided by a mother's soft wisdom, yet marked forever by the ache of her absence, we prepare for our next episode, where we'll begin to walk alongside a CrazyHorse into a world that's changing around him. A world of buffalo shadows sweeping across the plain, of storms that are preparing to rage across the west, and of people sensing that the future soon will demand more of them than ever before. Lighthair does not yet know exactly of what awaits him, but the land knows, and the spirits know as well. And somewhere deep inside, he can feel it too. An invisible pull, a quiet summoning, and a calling that whispers throughout the tall grass like a voice being carried in the wind. Here in this episode, he's just a boy, but already the ancestors have been watching him from the very start. Already the path is opening beneath his feet. Soon he will seek solitude and places where the earth truly meets the sky. And soon he will climb to the hill and ask the great mystery for guidance. And what he sees there, what raises up from the spirit world to greet him, will shape the very destiny of his life. It'll shape how he rides now, as well as in the future, how he fights, how he protects his people, how he meets danger with calm and cruelty with compassion. It will make him the warrior without arrogance, the leader without an ego, the man whose very presence held a storm in silence. But that moment, that vision, that spiritual turning point that defines the rest of his journey belongs for our next chapter. So take a deep breath with me. Feel the wind across the prairie. Feel the steady hoof riding and galloping across the distance. Feel the quiet rise inside the young boy that went by the name of Lighthair as he takes his first steps toward destiny. Because in episode 2, we climb that hill with him. We enter that moment where the veil becomes thin. The world literally shifts, and the child becomes a vessel of a vision powerful enough to echo throughout history. So make sure to join me next time. And until then, my friend, swing over to projectmindfullyoutdoors.co. Check out all the latest going on in the Project Mindfully Outdoors camp. And make sure you get out in the wilderness. That's where the stillness and the adventures lie. See ya.
Thank you for listening to the Project Mindfully Outdoors podcast. Please remember to subscribe to the show and visit www.projectmindfulyoutdoors.co for more.